Okay, so we're going to look at graphing sequences. So make sure you put your date at the top. And hopefully you've seen, oh, what did I do with my pen? This sequence before. So just looking at this sequence, I can see, let's see, if I add 9 to 5, I get 14. If I add 14 plus 5, I'm going to get 19. Sorry, this is all not showing up very good. So we're adding 5 each time. That looks bad. Sorry. And I also know that the 9 is my first term and the 14 is my second term. This is really not showing up very well. Thought I had that fixed. All right, so it's arithmetic because it's adding 5 each time, right? And I also know that this is my first term, and then this one is my second term. So my directions are to graph this sequence. So you can kind of think of these as points. That's the first term, and it's 9. Okay, and then the second term, sorry, this is so bad, I'm trying to use my hand, is 14. And so on. So we're just going to graph those points. So I can just take a regular old piece of graph paper and I can sort of number my bottom. I'll number that 1 and I'll skip 2 spaces and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. And then looking at my numbers here, these are going to be my y. So starts at 9 and it goes up to 24. So I might maybe go by 3s maybe. So I could make this 3, 6, 9, 18, 24. Okay. So I'm just going to graph that. I have 1 and 9. So I'll put a point there. 2 and 14, so that's 9, 10, 11, that's 12. So halfway up would be 14. 3 and 19, so that's 18. So I'll go just above that for 19. Okay, I'm on the wrong rung, sorry. And then 5 and 24. And somehow I missed 3. 3 was 19. Oh, I didn't have a 5. That was the problem. Ah, silly. So what do we say? 3 was 19. So that would be up here. And then 4 is 24. If I wanted to do 5, I would add 5 to this, right? And that would be 29, right? So that's just graphing it. Okay, I should make a line if I did that a little nicer, right? It might ask for the explicit sequence, right? So I know if I do the explicit sequence, I have a sub n equals a sub 1 plus d times n minus 1, right? So I'll plug in my a sub 1 is 9, my d is 5, and I keep my n minus 1. And I'm going fast because we've gone over this. Distribute. So I'll have 9 plus 5n minus 5. And then I got my 2 like terms here. So, oops, so my equation is going to be a sub n equals 5n, and then 9 minus 5 plus 4. Hopefully that looks familiar, because it really is y equals m x plus b, right? My y-intercept is going to be 4, so at 0, my 0 term, I subtract 5, that would give me 4, right? And then my slope is 5, because it's increasing 5 each time. There's my 4 y-intercept. So pretty straightforward there, okay? So you have something like this on your test review. It says graph the ordered pairs for this, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing. This gives me my sequence, right? So I can just number this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when n is 1, so I would just plug in a 1 here. That would give me 0, right? So I would just have 2 plus 0. So for a sub 1, right? So that'd be 2, right? So if I do, maybe let's go by 2's here. 2, 4, 6. So my first one's at 2. Then I want to know my second term. So again, I'm just going to plug it in there. So I can't write with this, sorry. A sub 2, first term is still 2 plus 3, and then this time I want my n to be 2 because I want the second term. So I'll do 2 minus 1. So that's going to give me 1, which gives me 3. So a sub 2 will give me 5. So my second term is going to be 5, which we'll put there. And then we want to find a third term. So this would be 2 plus 3, and then our third term, 3 minus 1. So that's going to give me 2. 2 plus 3 times 2 is 6, which would give me 8, right? So this would be 8. So my third term should be 8 here, okay? And I could do a fourth term. Maybe we'll just go 4. So a sub 4. So I'm trying to find the fourth term. So we have 2 plus 3, and then 4 minus 1, which we know is 3. So this would give me 2 plus, I'm writing in my head, aren't I? Ah, my head. I'm writing all in my head. I'm very sorry. I always forget about my head down there. So let's see. So I'm sorry. We're at 8 sub 4. So that's 2 plus 3, and then we're trying to find the fourth term, right? So we know that's 2 plus 3, and then times 3. So that's 9 plus 2, which is 11, right? And so this is 10, that's supposed to be 11. So 4, be 11. And that's just graphing it. That's all it's asking for. So you have to plug in the terms and then graph the sequence. Same thing for this one, although we got the geometric going here. My hair's all on my face. Okay, so here's a little harder. Okay, so I'm still the same thing. I got the first term, I got the second term, I got the third term, I got the fourth term, I got the fifth term, and so on. So we want to find g sub 1. So I'll have 32 times 1/2, and then I'll have 1 minus 1, right? So that gives me 1 minus 1, which is 0. Do you guys know what anything to the 0 power is? We've been over this before. We have 32 times 1/2 to the 0 power. Anything to the 0 power is, dun dun dun, 1. So my first term here was 32. So maybe I'll go by tens. 10, 20, I wish my little board thingy was working because this is hard. 30, 40. So the first one's 32, right about there. So then we're going to do the second term. So we want to find g sub 2. Okay, so we're going to have 32, and then we have 1/2 to the 2 minus 1, which gives me 1, right? 1/2 to the 1 power is 1. So basically I'm just fitting 32 times 1/2. What's half of 32? That would be 16. That can't be right. Is that right? It is right. So the second one is going to be 16, which might be around here. It's geometric, right? So it should be making a nice slope like that, right? Right. Okay, I would like for you, on your own, to find g sub 3. And then I would like for you to find g sub 4. You find those two on your own. Right, and then the last one is where they give you the graph, and you got to write the sequence. So that should be pretty easy, right? Here's my first sequence, it's at 12. So that would be a 12. My second term is going to be 10. Hard to write on this. Third term is going to be 8. You can kind of see the pattern, right? And 6 and 4, and then they want the equation, right? So this is clearly arithmetic because it's going down by a negative 2 each time. So I'm going to do my a sub n. A sub 1 is 12, plus my common difference of negative 2, and then my n minus 1. Okay, so it's just finding the explicit is your explanation. So it's going to be 12 plus negative 2 times n, and then negative 2 times negative 1 give me 1. So my final answer would be the equation is a sub n equals negative 2n, and then 12 plus 1 would give me 13. Right? No, that's not right. Because negative 2 times negative 1 is not 1. Why didn't you guys stop me? This should have been 2. So, I'm going to set up. So this is not 13, it's 12 plus 2, which gives you 14. And that's it, folks. Have a great night.